This is my current setup. This is where I work, this is where I game, this is sometimes where I eat.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
It's the Alex drawer table from IKEA. You might recognize it, and that's because it's the most commonly used office/slash gaming setup everywhere. Now, the reason for its popularity is because it holds a lot of things, it's practical, it looks clean, and it's cheap. A table like this will run you about $250 to $300 at IKEA. I've had this set up for a bit now, but recently I've been getting into 3D printing and I want my own farm. But I don't have a ton of space. There is this space right next to the table, but when I asked my ex-girlfriend slash roommate slash wife if I can clutter up our room a little bit more and put a 3D printing farm there, she said, absolutely not. So that brings me back to square one. But while I was doom scrolling one day, I ran across this post by Linux Text Tips, say that 10 times fast, where they put a standing desk in their regular table, which gave them two separate workstations. I mean, when I did some research on this guy made a bed out of this technique. So can I make my regular Alex drawer table to a standing office slash gaming slash 3D print farm station? Let's find out. So everyone I saw do something similar to this build put their standing desk in the drawers, which means that they can't use their drawers anymore. And I put a lot of important things in my drawers, like my Magic the Gathering cards. So I can't lose that drawer functionality. So here's the plan. I'm gonna put the standing desk next to my drawers and cut a hole in my tabletop so that the standing desk can go through it instead of having to stand inside of the drawers, if that makes sense. Like this. I made a little visual art for you visual learners. Which brings me back to another problem. Where's my PC going to go? If I put it in the level that the monitor is going to be, it's going to get crushed every time I put the desk down. If I put it in the level that the 3D printers are going to be, it's going to stretch out all the wires, it's going to take out space for another 3D printer. So what's the solution there? And like all great engineers, I just ignored the problem and hoped that it would just come while I was in the middle of the project. In hindsight, probably a bad idea, but here we are. I started out by cleaning out my desk, and then it hit me. What if I put my PC in my desk? You see, if I cut a hole in the middle of the table, it will just hold my PC, I can look at it, and it'll be out of the way. My current PC case is way too big for that. It'll hit my legs 10 out of 10 times, it'll be in the way every time. So, I can either makeshift and make my own small PC case out of wood and metal, or I could just transfer everything into a smaller case. And I think that's the way to go to make my life a little bit easier. But then that brings me into another problem. What type of standing desk do I get? See, everyone that did this project got a standing desk from FlexiSpot. It has 4 legs, it can hold 500 pounds, it goes really high, so it makes sense for stability reasons to hold as much as possible, but it's $500 and I don't have that kind of money. So I went on Amazon and I bought this cheap 2-leg standing desk. It was $200 and it holds up to 300 pounds. It doesn't go as high, but we can figure something out for that. It might not be as stable, which might be a problem with 3D printers, but it should work, right? For all things considered, for being a cheaper end standing desk, everything came looking very, very solid. Didn't feel like anything was going to break on me. So off to a pretty good start on that end. But I decided that I'm going to just set up the legs of the standing desk so that I can place them under my current table and mark out where I want the standing desk to go out from. So I can make sure I have enough space up here to work on and also make sure that the standing legs don't get in the way.
Today, Junior?
After I did that, I decided I'm going to set up the PC parts together. I don't know why I did things out of order in this project, but I did, and it definitely came to bite me in the butt But yeah, enjoy me trying to put in parts way too big into a case I found in my garage that's been sitting there for a long time. Now to the fun bits. I drew this little square using my PC case as a guide. That's where my PC is going to go. I feel like that would be the optimal spot. I can look at it. It's not going to be too much in the way. So I just started cutting. Remember when I said this? And it definitely came to bite me in the butt. Well, this is that moment. This is the face of a man who's about to learn why IKEA is so cheap. Let's take it back. Way back. This is Mr. Ingvar. You might not recognize him, but he's the founder of IKEA. He believed that furniture should be cheap, simple, and flat packable. In the 1950s, IKEA began designing furniture that could be disassembled and packed flat to reduce shipping cost, material cost, weight, and still be structurally strong. Then, in the early 2000s, they began replacing the solid interior of some furniture with cardboard honeycomb cores. You might start to see how this is a problem for me. You see, the honeycomb pattern distributes force extremely efficiently. The same concept is used in aircraft wings, doors, and structural panels. It's very light, uses less raw material, and still strong. So that brings me back to my problem. I took out the middle of that honeycomb structure, which means it's going to be less efficient in distributing that force. So, after some research, I found this butcher block that can replace the tabletop from IKEA. It'll be more structurally sound and will give me a little bit more peace of mind. But it's super expensive. And when I asked my wife if I could buy it, she said absolutely not. So I'm gonna have to make this IKEA table work. After getting ridiculed by some forums, I found out that if I support it at the right spots, it'll be totally fine. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I finished out the rest of the build. I cut out the holes for the standing legs. I set up the standing desk on top of the table and put the PC in, and I got these little grates that will hold my monitor and all the fun stuff, and tested it a couple times, and yeah, here we are. So without further ado, this will be the final product. Alright, so does this look perfect? No, my cable management can be better, my cuts can look cleaner. I was gonna clean up my cuts and put some edge banding on them, but I decided against it and left it alone so that it's a constant reminder to do research before I start projects, and to be better prepared. But if I'm being completely honest with you, it's because I bought the butcher block. Yeah, I bit the bullet. I just didn't want to worry about covering all my cuts with edge banding. I didn't have to worry about, putting supports in the correct spots. So yeah, I think it'll be better for the longevity of the table anyways. I've been using this setup for the past couple of days now. I've been editing, working, gaming, and it's been really good. I just think it'll look better with the butcher block. But yeah, if you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching, and yeah, bye.